Mr. Bruce Dean, please?
You got me right here.
Hi, my name is Donna. I'm calling from BC Hydro's customer advocacy team.
Hi, Donna. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I just had a message to reach out to go over your billing. How can I help?
Okay, well, yeah, it's number one, and my bill is just like it's crazy. It's like over 3 times higher easily than when I moved in here almost 3 years ago.
Okay.
And it's not. I've had a federal license to grow medical marijuana for over 2 decades, and it was
Okay.
only since moving in here where my bill, his electrical bills, made it is like forcing me into homelessness. Before this, it
Okay.
never was as high. And this place had all kinds of problems when I moved into it, electronically wise. Other issues too. It's BC housing, so it's always terrible, terrible housing they provide us. They make it look
Right.
pretty on the outside, but it's horrible. So in here, on top of the floodings I've been having, I've also had all sorts of electrical issues where things were catching fire and literally blowing up in my
Oh.
garden. And I
Okay.
couldn't get any help from anybody. BC Housing treats you always like the enemy. And then they spoke to all the fire department officials and whatnot that I was calling out, who didn't even want to come out because things are blowing up. They're like, I have recordings of it all online. I record everything. And the guy's like, well, is it on fire now? And I'm like, well, no. And then he goes, well, then that's why are you calling us? Like, it's like because things are catching fire and blowing up. I don't want to wait till
Yeah.
I'm dying in flames to call you guys. And so
Yeah.
I couldn't get any help. They finally did stuff. They turned it into a harassment thing where they come in and it turns out the wiring was faulty in here, and they did all this replacement work of the wiring, put in other breakers, and one for each outlet has its own breaker in that room now. The rest of the place hasn't been fixed, but that one room of mine has been fixed. But I think it's
Yeah.
been since then. I don't know if it's since then or not, but it seems since then is when I started noticing the problem with the electrical bill going up, and then you guys keep, I called about this before, over a year ago, because I noticed it was saying my usage was kept going up, and I'm like, well, it's not going up, I'm not increasing my usage at all, and all I've done over these years in here since this has been happening is I've got more efficient, more like energy efficient lighting systems, and that didn't work. Everything kept going up, and I called before saying, what's going on, how come it's going up? I'm not increasing the use of my power.
Yeah.
But then what happened recently just let me know that it's something wrong. It's not me. There's something wrong, and I'm being overbilled because over this summer I had to battle with everything's a battle when you're disabled. There's nothing comes
Yeah.
free. So I had to battle WorkSafe BC over my mobility aid because my batteries had died on me, and so
Right.
I had no mobility aid to charge for about 3 months, and that's all easily documented. And so I wasn't using charging my mobility aid, which is charged every day, but I don't think it's a big amount anyways. But also at the same time as that is I cut back my lighting, and this isn't the first time. Before I had a time when I had when the stuff was blowing up, and so I had to replace it, and I couldn't afford to replace everything. So I had way lesser lighting for a period of time. But again, the bill didn't show any reduced usage; it showed increased usage. That's when I called before saying, no, this isn't right. But now it's unequivocal because not only that's happening, I just, in panic because I'm fearing being made homeless now, I totally changed my lighting and used less lighting. I reduced my growing space in there, and I used to have big three large other lights too, but 3 large ballasts running, big like 600 to 1,000 watt lights and whatnot. Now I'm just down to only one of those. Yet my bill still keeps showing it's going up and it's going up. And it's like, no, my bill's not going up at all. There's something going on here. Maybe when they did the wiring, they hooked me into a neighbor's apartment, but even still, these are small suites. He didn't buy like a kiln and started making pottery to sell. So I don't even know how one suite could do it. Maybe there's something more's done. Maybe I'm paying for this whole floor. I don't know, but there's something wrong here. And because my bills, like, I don't know anybody who pays that much in a month. I know people with houses, their bills are like that. I'm a little bachelor suite here in BC housing. All my lighting is run on timers, so it's not going to increase. It's just it's all fixed. And then I also applied for, this was really insulting, as I applied for before and got that emergency relief once. I applied for it again, and I was told I can't get it because They are not doctors, but they deemed that my medical problems were just the same ongoing stuff, even though it's new cancers, different cancers, but they've
Right.
assessed it's all the same. So I was denied the relief at the same
Okay.
time as you guys are subsidizing places like the LNG plants and whatnot. You subsidize profit-making industry, but a disabled person, I'm getting overbilled, and I can't even get emergency relief for it. So there's that going on, and my use is not going up every month, and I've saved everything. I've screen captured everything.
Yeah.
I'm obsessive, like I'm a journalist by trade before my disability. So
Right.
I'm really good at so I've got everything documented to show that every month it's saying my increase is going up, and it's not.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so I don't know what to do. I'm at loss. That's why I applied to that. For some reason, they directed you guys to talk to me, but I've talked to you guys before, so that they're no help to me. So
Yeah.
my plan is just to appeal them and saying, "What the freak are you doing?" I says, "I
Yeah.
tried talking to them before, nothing came out of it. They were very rude to me about my cancers and my disability, and so why am I getting? I don't expect anything to come out of this conversation right now, just because. But they because they're the agency I have to complain to. I of
Hmm.
course have to cooperate with it, but I'm like thinking, well, this is definition of sanity is doing the same thing over again and expecting different results. So
Yeah, no, I completely understand. I mean, I've gone over the account history, and yeah, definitely, I can see what you're seeing. Seeing it's definitely gone up quite a bit. Can you tell me, has there, like, over the last couple of years, has anything changed? Like, have you added any new equipment,
no,
or
no,
can you
yeah,
tell me what in the home is all running on electricity?
yeah. Well, basically, I have my computer and it's on all the time, and it's got two screens. They're like television, big televisions, but they're screens,
Yeah,
and so I have that running all the time. And then I have
yeah, that should really be the biggest
no,
concern.
and then I also have my mobility aid, which charges up, and I use that every day, so it's charged every day. But like a
Okay.
friend of mine said, he's really wise about he knows a lot about electronics, and he sent me
Hmm.
this thing, and he says, no, he says to charge your mobility aid, he says it costs like 7 cents max. So
Right. Okay.
that's once a day, so I can't see how that can affect it. And then
Yeah.
then I rarely use oven or stove because I'm disabled, so I just can't even standing there cooking is painful for me.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I hardly even use my oven, but I do use it because some of the foods I buy are like these. I got one in the oven right now going. I
Yeah.
have to check my time right now to make sure I'm not burning it. Okay, yeah, and so I use that my oven, but it's not even once a day. It's maybe 2, 3 times a week max, and it's for these pre-made stuff. You throw the frozen dinner in there, so it's like
Yeah.
half hour max usually or whatever like that. So that's all I do with that. But that never changes because my diet is I can't afford to all of a sudden buy steak and cook a steak up. I can't afford stuff like that. So to me, it's just
Yeah.
all low budget, simple prep
Hmm.
meals, whatever. And then, but the main thing, and then just the regular house lighting too. But early on in this, I became so paranoid about my bill started going up that I live without lights basically because I don't have it. I have no
Yeah.
heaters, no space heaters, nothing like that. So the only thing that's using any significant power is my medical marijuana garden. But like I said, I've been doing these for 2 decades, and it's never been like this. And the
No.
equipment I've bought is only better, and then I've gotten more efficient. I had a friend, he upgraded his growing thing, so he sent me a light, and it's one of these new Skookum systems where you use a lower wattage light, and they claim it can do as much. So it's like a 350 watt unit, and they say it produces as much as a 600. So I use that. I have that one in there, and then
Okay.
I used to have
Is there
two.
any particular time where the lights on those are off?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. They're all set in a timer. So I have two growing rooms in there. I run what they call a perpetual harvest garden. So it's all it's not. I don't have to like long. So I won't explain it.
It
Anyway,
just
so
seems like when I look at your consumption online, there seems to be always a decrease right around the 3 p.m. mark, just about every day. Is that usually when the lights
no,
go
no, no.
off on those?
No. There's
No.
nothing I do at 3 p.m. Nothing at all. And my lights are all off then. See, so that tells me that they may be hooked in. That you should see the job they did on the wiring here. There's no way it's legal. I mean, when they came in
Yeah, it
here doing
sounds
the
kind of
wiring here,
sad.
and it was BC housing stuff, and it's the walls. There's still exposed wiring. The walls aren't even closed up. was horrible. And then they kept coming in. They come into my place 3 or 4 times a week, making me have to then take my whole room and try to hide stuff out of the way and cover it over because they're light sensitive to for the flowering. So you have to cover them over, and they're going through and breaking plants and branches off it and stuff like that. It was just ridiculous. The electrical inspector was the worst guy. He was a horrible liar. I got him caught on film lying, trying to claim in front of the firefighters that he had never been in my room. And I'm like, no, I've got you video recorded, dude. So like, you're lying right now. So and so he at first he was saying there was no problem, then all of a sudden there was a problem, and it was all this. And it turned out it was one fixture that was legal, but it just came from the manufacturer without the sticker on it. And so and that's what he was trying to hold on. But he lied about everything to me about it. So I don't even have any faith in what's going on in there. And if you're telling me that my usage is going up at 3 p.m., I'm like, well, no, I'm usually out on my mobility aid then. And my lights are set up at my 2 rooms I have. I have a veg room. It has longer lights that go 18 and 6. They're on for 18 hours, and they turn off like sometime around 6 or 8 in the morning, somewhere in there. I have to check whatever, but and so they're on 18/6 plan, so they're off for 6 hours. And then my flower room is on for 12 and 12. And that's the one with the big, powerful lights, so it's on. And I think they go on at 5, and they come off at they come on at somewhere around there. And they come on at 5 or between 5 and 7, somewhere in there, because daylight saving time I don't change my timers because to go as daylight saving time, it doesn't affect them. But it's 12 and 12, so they're on 6 to 6. So again, everything's off. From about. Even for the flower room, which is the lower power lights, everything's off there around I think 10 or 11 maybe. I can't remember, and then it doesn't come back on until after that. So nothing's happening around 3. Okay. So that tells me that maybe they tied me in another suite.
Yeah, like when I look at your consumption online, like I don't honestly believe that there's anything wrong with the meter itself, Bruce, because it's very consistent. Like, you're using almost the same amount of power every single day.
Yeah.
Give or take a little bit, but between 46 to 8 kilowatts every day, and it's consistent almost all day long. The usage is happening. Like, there's usually if there's an issue with a meter, which we don't often have, you're going to see sporadic spikes, or it's going to just not show usage at certain times. Like, there's indications that maybe there's some a miscommunication with the meter, but this is pretty consistent, like throughout your last few billing cycles. I can't really tell you what in the home it is. Maybe it's wiring issues. I don't know. That would be on the house side, unfortunately, that would have to investigate. Like, the only other thing that we can do on our side is, but again, it's expensive. You can request the meter to be tested, but I honestly don't think that's what it is. I think there's something else going on. We've got a couple of options. Like, the customer crisis fund is still an option. Like, you can reapply for that again.
Yeah, well, and I just got diagnosed 3 days ago with a new cancer. So they'll probably say, "Oh no, they'll call it an ongoing thing." Well, it's very frustrating, and I only have so much. Like, I am so sick now. I'm talking to you laying down in bed. I can't get up out of bed. I can't even stand. And so anything to have to do to and it's just so frustrating. Every agency is all saying, well, just do this, and just fill this form out, and just do this. And they all think it's just privilege. That's why I was so angry when I called back, because the guy last time, I says, I can't, don't make me call a number just for an answering machine. He says, no, we'll leave you with an extension number when we call back. And they didn't leave me an extension number. I thought, well, maybe this is a different number. I'll call it anyways. And no, it went right to voicemail, and it's like, ugh. Because I have such little, no worries. It's just because it's just when you got a disability and you're fighting cancers, it doesn't always show to people, so they just assume you're either full of shit or you're exaggerating, or they just have no comprehension of what you have to go through every day. And that's why it was so frustrating with that applying for that emergency leave thing, to be told that to your face, that you're just, oh, it's just ongoing conditions. And I told the operator, I says, but if I last year I needed money, and I got money because I needed my roof repair, and this year I need this done. But I
think we need to do it again, Bruce, and I think that I think there's a couple of things that we can do to help.
Yeah.
One of them is a customer crisis fund, which I still think that you should fill out the form again, and we can reevaluate. If they deny you, then what I would like you to do is call us
Yeah.
in customer advocacy, because we can reach out and say, hey, we might be able to do something to get it approved. The other thing is, that's not going to help your usage though. We still like to figure out, why the bills are higher and they continue to get higher. That's the other concern, because we want to try and get that under control. The other option, the second option, which I think also you should apply for, is called our ECAP program. And
Yeah.
what it is, it's a program for customers like you, and I do think that you would qualify, where we will come into your home and do an evaluation and look around to see what we can do or what we can install in your home at our cost to possibly help reduce the consumption for you, to try and make it lower. And at least you get somebody coming in to take a look around, right? That
Yeah.
can maybe help in reducing the power, or maybe to be able to see where the consumption is happening and if there's a way that we can start to reduce the bills for you, because I know it's hard.
Oh,
These bills are pretty high
yeah.
for somebody like you that's
Yeah,
living
I'm
on a
forced
fixed
into
income.
society forces me into poverty on my CPP disability, and it's unconscionable that it keeps being allowed, but doesn't affect enough people for people to notice that it's going on. But we are all for everyone in this building here. We're all like just stupidly poor. Why? We didn't do anything to be forced into poverty, but and whatever. And that's what I said to them before too with that emergency relief. I said, why are you guys subsidizing industry and you don't subsidize disabled people? That does a person who has an iron lung, does he have to pay for his higher electrical bill? Because, well, you got an iron lung, it's your fault. You got to cough it up. You want to pay, you got to play. So it's like, there should be, there should be something in place for people who are either so poor and disabled, where their electrical requirements are higher through no fault of their own, and they should be subsidized,
Absolutely.
or whatever like that. Because this what I have to go through and facing the stress. They say stress is one of the worst things for cancer. And yet I'm just forced through stress,
It's terrible.
Now,
honestly,
one thing I want to ask you is, one thing I want to ask you too, though, is if there is a problem with the electrical thing, can you guys compel, like BC Housing to do an inspection or something like that, whatever? Because here's the problem: is I can,
Unfortunately not.
because if I called up, like there's BC electrical inspectors, or whatever they're called. They private contracted it out, which is unconscionable, because then you have profit motive, and they with their inspections here, like I told you, the guy is like totally busted, lying, and many times over, and horrendous lies, and it's affecting my livelihood and my housing, and he's lying about it. And so then I even filed for FOI, Freedom of Information requests and whatnot. They just ignore it because they know
Have you talked to, I don't know how BC Housing works, but are they overlooked by the landlord tenancy branch?
Oh, they are, yeah, and I've got complaints against them right now. Like the last 2 months they stole part of my rent check, and they stole part of my.
Anything outside.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the wiring and stuff inside, we wouldn't be able to get involved or even touch that area. Like, we could try and get you approved for the ECAP program, and again, they're going to come into the house and look around and see what we can do to improve and reduce power consumption, and maybe install some things that might help you. But that's not going to fix wiring issues, right? Like, that's
well, and the thing is, who do I go to if my housing provider has failed me with as far as my wiring goes around here, and then the actual BC technical BC or something they're called. Anyways, those people, and they failed me. They were lying about me, and they didn't honor FOI requests that they were obliged to honor. Like, so they're useless to me. Is there anybody else I can call to do an inspection here to see if I'm wired into the next suite or what? Because you right away you're telling me that there's a spike in use at 3 o'clock. Well, that's not me.
No, actually a reduction, not a spike.
Oh, a reduction. Okay,
yeah,
so
for whatever reason, like when I look at your consumption online, there seems to be a reduction. Like, the power goes down right around between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. and then it starts to go back up at around 7 p.m. again. I just thought maybe.
Yeah, well, the 3 p.m. still that's not me. It's not. I don't automatically reduce at 3 o'clock. My timers are set, so that's illogical. So that tells
Yeah.
me maybe it's a neighbor. I'm hooked into his 220 on his
Yeah.
thing. Where I don't know, but there's something going
And you
on
don't
here.
have access to your meter, right? It's probably in a meter room somewhere on site. Yeah. Because the only other thing, like, without getting an electrician in, which is going to cost money because I'm sure they're not going to pay for it.
Yeah.
And so you'd be left to your own demise paying an electrician to come in to do a check to see if it's hooked up to anything else. The only other thing you could do would be to try and gain access to the meter room. And then what you could do is shut off all your breakers in your house for about 20 minutes, half an hour, and then go look at the meter to see if it's still running. That's one way to see if there's anything else that's flying into your meter. But hard if you don't have access to the actual meter room and your meter to be able to see that. I don't know if that's something that you can request to have access for a certain time so that you could, take a look at that. Obviously, if you get an electrician, they're going to want to see that as well, right? So, but I don't know what an electrician would charge to come in and do that. Probably a fair amount.
I have to do food bank every month, so I don't have any money for anything like that.
I don't know, maybe the landlord tenancy branch, that's something that they could request on your behalf to see. And maybe
and that's such a slow process too. It's just, I mean, I've got hearings against them over stuff right now, and the first date is going to be in February. So it's like months, every 6 months, and then they when you call them, they always tell on the phone, we're a neutral agency. A neutral agency doesn't have to tell you they're neutral. Everybody knows they're not neutral. They favor the landlord and the government especially. So they're not neutral and whatever. But I got them jumping this time because I said, I recorded my last hearing where you guys refused to look at any of the evidence. I mean, when I kept insisting, they said, okay, well, pick one. They told me to pick one piece of evidence out of about 50 pieces. They didn't even look at the evidence provided. I still won, but I didn't win anything. That's how corrupt they are. They don't even, it's like, how do they, like you can't go to court and a judge would do that, but they do it. But they also tell you not to record it. But I told them, I recorded it, and they're like, you can. I'm like, then sue me. I says, the judge will hear how you're lying in there, and how you wouldn't look at my evidence, and so it'll prove that I'm allowed to do it. Anyways, that's another issue.
Well, why don't we at least try to get you approved for now to help out for the customer crisis fund?
Yeah.
And so you have access to your computer. Can you fill out the customer crisis fund application for me today online?
Yeah, I'll try to get there today. Yeah.
So if you go online, I mean, even if it's a wiring issue, if you are approved for the CCAP program, at least they're going to come in and see if there's a way that we can try and reduce some of your loads to make the bill lower.
Well, and then
and it's a really good program.
Yeah.
Like,
and then they would also witness the exposed wiring and whatnot too, and then think that would be they could report and say, hey, that's not good.
Yes. Yeah. They really could.
Like there's just holes in my wall. That's how BC Housing runs. There's just holes in my wall. It's just like, and they don't care.
Let's see if I can find it online here for you. So you know where to find the customer crisis.
Yeah.
You've done that, but if you type in, it's been a while since I've looked at this program, but it's really good, and not a lot of people know about it. So it's called the Energy Conservation Assistance Program. So if you go to the BC Hydro website, and in the search menu, just type in ECAP, ECAP.
Yeah.
It's going to come up, the first option is going to say Energy Conservation Assistance Program.
Yeah.
You're going to click on that, and it's going to give you, it's just going to go over the things that are involved in that, and then there's an apply now, just like with the customer crisis fund. Fill out the apply now for the ECAP 2 policy, the customer crisis fund, and the ECAP program.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can at least get you qualified for these things for now to help you out. We're going into winter, so it's not going to get any easier. At least we could try and get some money towards the outstanding balance now, and then hopefully get this ECAP started where we can get somebody to come in and assist you to see if there's something that we can do to reduce your load or see, maybe
okay, that's good.
Yeah.
And then with the cases I already have going with the RTB right now against BC Housing, yeah, even though it was a separate issue I filed it on, I was able to include in all these other issues, including I made mention of this, loosely, and I haven't given the evidence. I'm allowed to do amendments still. So
Yeah.
the information you've given me, like even about the timing and the light, that'll be
Yep.
helpful because I'll say, hey, there's something going on. The power usage doesn't sync with how I'm using the power, and
Yeah.
so I can do that too. So that's been very helpful. I appreciate that too.
And then, I mean, like I said, I don't know if you can get access to the meter room or request access even for like an hour where you can do a breaker test to see
Yeah.
if you can shut off all the breakers and then monitor the meter. It takes probably about, I would give it a good 30 minutes with all the breakers off before
Yeah.
you go down and look at the meter, but it's just a way, a means of seeing if it's still running, right? Because that's going to tell us if there's anything else that's using power off that meter.
Yeah.
This kind of rules that out. I mean, I'm not sure if they're wiki or if it's a wiring issue, but we have to try and cover all bases so we can see, what is actually happening, if it is actually usage only in your home, if it's usage, due to some faulty wiring. These are the things we need to find out, because, I mean, I agree, it's definitely increased in the last 3 years. Every year it's kind of gone up, right?
Yeah. And that's illogical. There's something going wrong there. But again, like I said,
Yeah.
and this wiring stuff happened shortly after I moved in, so
Okay.
that can sort of make
Yeah.
sense that maybe there is something hooked into me that shouldn't be hooked into, because anyways. Okay, well that's been helpful. I mean, I wish you had some total answer that saved my butt right now, but at
I
least it
wish
gives
I
me
did
some hope.
too.
Yeah, it gives me some hope.
But if for whatever, so make sure that when you fill out this customer crisis fund application, Bruce, try and be as detailed as you can
Yeah.
about that it is a new issue.
Yeah.
If for whatever reason it gets denied, please give us a call here at customer advocacy so that we can at least reach out to them to discuss that with them.
Yeah, appreciate that.
And then we'll see what we can do to try and at least get you approved for that. I don't have all of the polls, but I have a little bit. So possibly we can at least try and help out with the bill that's outstanding now. So I'm going to put a lock on your account here for now until that customer crisis fund application is filled out. Fill out the CCAP program as well.
Okay.
And then if you have any questions, just give us a call back here, okay?
Okay, I will for sure. Thanks for your time. Appreciate that. And thanks
Yeah,
for your patience
absolutely.
too. I know when I'm in this much pain, I'm not easy to deal with. So I appreciate your patience. That's
I
good.
understand. Absolutely. Okay. Well, have a great day, Bruce. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much.
Bye now.
Okay, bye-bye.
Good morning, Saanich Building Inspections. Jen speaking.
Yeah, hi. I called earlier this week about getting an inspector out over some electrical concerns in my apartment. Electrical switches, you can try to switch them, they spark and go off. There's all sorts of problems. But things like light timers have melted. Light bulbs, expensive 1,000-watt light bulbs have blown up.
Calling Technical Safety BC. For training and quality control purposes, your call may be monitored or recorded. To report an incident or unsafe conditions, press 1. For installation permits and
Are you with the company or is this personal?
This personal, and this is a follow-up call because I got no response from the first call earlier this week.
Oh, all right. So I'll take a new report then. All right. Thank you. And I'll mention that this is a follow-up.
Oh, for sure. Especially because when you ask me the question, especially when you ask me the question on when you take the report about if this is a high risk for fire or low risk, and I tell you high risk, and then nobody calls me back. How do I get somebody else to inspect it to fix it? I just can't.
Well, first of all, do you have a business license with Saanich?
No, I'm a resident. I live in an apartment. This is an apartment. This is happening in.
unless there's a fire, there's no reason for us to be responding.
Yeah, well, that's what I say too. But then fire department has come out and inspected my stuff before. So why would they come out for a landlord who thinks, oh no, is he allowed to do this when I have a federal license for it? But they won't come out when stuff is melting and blowing up?
Well, here, let me ask you that again. Has it melted and blown up right now? Like, is there a threat right now?
Not right at this moment, but nothing's been fixed. So, hi Brad, I was given your card from your office. I was in there with some concerns over a building inspection, electrical inspection of my apartment I live in. I got stuff melting and blowing up in my house here related to electrical, and I hadn't heard anything back. I called again today, and I still hadn't heard back, but I was advised to actually go into your guys' office directly. So I did that, and they gave me your card, and they said that you might know who the person might be that would inspect my unit, in this part of town. Hello, Neil. I was given your number by Brad about an inspection in my suite at 880 Vernon regarding medical marijuana grow and things melting and blowing up. Appreciate a call back on this. I called earlier this week and I got blown off. I called again today and no one's called me back again yet. So, and obviously I need some action on this as soon as possible because things are, like I said, melting and blowing up, and there's other electrical issues in here too. I submitted a report to Technical Safety BC, and they said the request is in queue and they'll get back to me in 5 to 7 business days. And it says to also contact, if this is matter is urgent, to contact your number, and so that's what I'm doing. And this is the second time I've done that. I put the same form in a week ago, and it says they'll get back to me in 5 to 7 days, and nobody got back to me yet, and it's been over 7 days.
All right. What I can do is I can send another incident report to
Please,
them.
thank you. Yeah. And else I wanted to cover, but due to the interruptions and the stuff, it's very frustrating. And your frustration, you're doing your job, you're paid good money, you can afford. I'm in poverty, I have to do food banks, and this is costing me money, and this is stress for me, stress for my guy. Every time somebody comes in here, branches are broken on the plants, and all that reduces my medication. Yeah, because not even just from you, but
I never set foot past the big. That's why I asked you to give me proof of the certification, was because I didn't want to risk your plant. You've been very clear. That's your medicine, and I think we've been respectful of that. And I never set foot beyond it because there was no way for me to check that equipment without.
I got video of you.
Yeah,
looking
not taking steps beyond.
No, right in the room, right up to my bowels there. I've got that. You were in there. That's on video.
So now I'm disrespectful and I'm a bad guy.
No, you're not. I'm not saying that at all, and I never said that at all. So that's like some dramatic overreaction or like that. I never said any of that stuff.
I never set foot past. I never set foot past. I never set foot past. I never set foot beyond because. I never set foot beyond because. I never set foot beyond because. I never set foot beyond because there was no way for me to check that equipment without.
I got video of you.
Yeah,
looking
not taking steps beyond.
No, right in the room, right up to my bowels there. I've got that. You were in there. That's on video. Okay, so you can come in and check it out.
Oh, that's a much better setup.
Yeah, and it's all legit. This fan is all legit too. It's got I believe it's legit. It's got all the markings on it and on here too, whatever. So I believe it's all legit. And this is 600 watt, 600 watt max for that thing. It goes 600 and it can go down lower too, whatever. And then all the other lights are plugged into the circuit for this room. But and that's the fans, the other T5s, except for this is the one that's plugged into with this guy on the same timer. Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah, of course, yeah, no problem, yeah.
One thing you want to be careful with.
Yeah.
So you can always do that. Let's see if I can find one on.
I don't know about there, I don't know where they typically are. The shade, no, I wouldn't say that. Oh, is that it right there in the end? I don't know. I gotta have reading glasses on.
Yes, that's you out there. It's right there. So this is what we're looking for. You see how this has a little C beside it?
Okay, yeah.
So we're looking for it's a UL certified product.
Yeah.
C stands for Canada. US is obviously US. So that's a certified piece of equipment. That's great. This looks like it's certified, but I just can't find it right now. Oh, here we go.
And you've got a growing operation in your apartment?
Well, yeah, it's federal licensed. That's not the concern here.
And but is there a fire right now?
No fire now, but it's obviously odd that timers melt and bulbs blow up. I'm doing this 17 years. This has never happened before.
Well, we don't. That's not something we would look at. You would have to return those to wherever you purchased them. You can contact an electrical inspector, but that's more for commercial businesses. So unless there's a fire, there's no reason for us to be responding.
Yeah, well, that's what I say too. But then fire department has come out and inspected my stuff before. So why would they come out for a landlord who thinks, oh no, is he allowed to do this when I have a federal license for it? But they won't come out when stuff is melting and blowing up?
Well, here, let me ask you that again. Has it melted and blown up right now? Like, is there a threat right now? Of fire?
Not right at this moment, but nothing's been fixed, so...
Oh.
This place is a joke, man. 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 Good girl, Dallas. Come down, come. Out of the way, come. I'm just filming.
I'm probably going to need to get like a FOI's report and stuff like that, just because we called WCB, nobody would come out and deal with this, so it's been blocked for months, and so I'm going to need to FOI this. Is there some way that makes it easier to FOI this report, or just reference the date? Or
I'm not doing a report on it, no.
No. Come. All the way, come. I'm just filming.
I'm not doing a report on it, no.
I'm just filming.
Has it melted and blown up right now? Like, is there a threat right now?
I'm not doing a report on it, no.
Fire trucks can't get in. Good girl. Okay, come over here, Dallas. Come. Come, girl. Come, out of the way here. You stay here, Dallas. Stay here. You gotta back up to the truck, Dallas. Come. Come. Are they gonna try to come in even? So they can't even get in here. That's pathetic. Yeah, the fire truck couldn't even get in here. They had to knock down all the fencing, and then they can't even get around the corner in here.
That's ridiculous. Usually we get prompted. This is what I've been here 21 years. This is the way I always come to the building.
Yeah.
Unless if you change how you get to a building, there should be a notice, like let us know, right? Like,
Totally, yeah.
Hey, come
Yeah.
in a different route.
Yeah. I could keep you here for hours to show you all the access issues around this building. It's just, and for a disability building, you know.
Me too. As many assumptions to say.
They can't smell it, they can't find the source.
like I say, it's cord connected equipment.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's cord connected equipment.
Yeah.
Back to what I was saying, like, I have to think of the other 89 suites. I can't, and it's like, but that doesn't mean that I'm against you.
No, and I don't.
I'm trying to support what you're trying to do, but I have to balance those things, right?
Well, then to me, there's nothing to balance. It's the same thing. Protecting me, protecting them. It's like feminism. When feminism is there, men's rights are protected.
So I just want you to appreciate that
yeah.
that's the perspective I have to come from.
And I have no objection to that. The only issue I had is that I really needed clarification. If you would have answered my email on what
just give me a phone call.
But if you would have done that on there, then I would have gone, oh, okay, no problem. I would have contacted, give me more info or something like that, whatever.
As soon as you apply for a safety manager review, I'm not allowed to phone you anymore.
Well,
right?
yeah, and that's fine, but the thing is, none of them did either. They send their emails, they're going to do it back, whatever. And when you said about, I would have let you in, I honestly would have let you in. I have no objections. And when slow down.
Put yourself in my shoes.
Yeah, let me just finish.
If somebody goes, I know, but like you say, conversation has to go back and forth. Let me answer the question.
Yeah.
You know what's the most likely thing to happen? Is they actually just take this away from me and they give it to somebody else. And another safety officer comes, so you start all over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you, buddy. I hear you.
Hey.
Howdy. How you doing?
Good. What's going on?
Nothing much. Just checking in here, just passing some messages on.
What is this?
It's hey, don't put your hands on me.
Is it running?
Don't you get it. Ever. But then what happened too was, it may not be in my notes there, is about a year and a half ago maybe a bit more than that, I got assaulted by two people. I do activism, and I had a camera on my helmet. And one of the people, two of them came at me from front and back, and the one from back grabbed my helmet in my head, trying to stop me from filming. And it's basically like face masking, except it was on top of my head, so they had even better leverage, and they just wrenched my head down forward and to the left. And I was standing above my mobility aid. And that's, sorry?
How long ago was that?
That was about a year and a half ago, maybe a bit more. And I'm convinced that there is something else going on besides the arthritis, and I think that's been why this is.
There's nerve root compression. There's significant nerve root compression. So arthritis, one of the things that the body does, in response to arthritis, is it builds up extra bone, and bone, if it's building up on the outside part of the spine, then it has less area to expand. But if it's building up on the inner aspect of the spine where the nerve roots come out, it compresses the nerves. Yeah. So in some ways, it replicates what happens when people get a so-called slipped disc, where the spinal canal is compressed. So you've got spinal stenosis, you've got what we call foraminal encroachment, which means where the windows or the nerve roots come out and go to the shoulders and the arms, etc., are tightly compressed, and you've got arthritis as well. So what we call facet arthropathy. So there's lots of things that the main driving force to all of those is the arthritis, the inflammation, the buildup of bone, but it has a whole bunch of different effects. It has a bunch of different ramifications, like domino effect, is that The spinal stenosis, because of the extra bone, compresses nerves, and it has effects further down in the body. Because all the nerve fibers that go to or between the lower part of the body and the head and the brain have to go through the neck. And so it can have effects much further down the body than just cervical spine. So an MRI scan sometimes can help to identify what we call a myelopathy. Well, myelopathy is where the spinal cord nerves themselves the integrity is affected by the presence of a tight compression. And so an MRI would be a very useful one to get.
I don't remember him mentioning that. I'm wondering if it'd be possible for you to contact his office and suggest he add that in there. Because I haven't been notified. He just told me yesterday he was going to get me that right away. But he may not have done that. So I'm wondering because if I try to, I may not be able to. I'm sure I can't be able to do the description as aptly as you can. Or unless you can just even order one at the same time. I don't know how that works. Whatever. So
so I'll fill out the requisition for the MRI and order it on a semi-urgent basis for sure.
Okay.
And is it waking you from sleep at night?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How often are you waking up at night?
Well, and that's a hard one to answer too, just because it's almost constant. My days are just a mess. I don't even have a normal day or nights at all. And then I get woken up by the pain. I get woken up by by having to go. And one of the people, two of them came at me from front and back, and the one from back grabbed my helmet in my head, trying to stop me from filming. And it basically like face masking, except it was on top of my head, so they had even better leverage, and they just wrenched my head down forward and to the left. And I was standing above my mobility aid. And that's, sorry?
How long ago was that?
That was about a year and a half ago, maybe a bit more. And I can get the exact date on it, because it was filmed. Okay. And then that injured me, but I was fine, it seemed like, whatever. I just kept going on, and I was sore from it, whatever. But it seemed to be, it slowly started getting worse and worse and worse, and to the point where I just called it the perfect storm between the two back injuries and then my knees. And then I knew I'd had already the bone scans by that point because of the cancer, so I knew that my arthritis was spreading. So I said, that's just everything combined. It had me like freaked right out. I'm even applying for MAPE now because of it, just in case it gets bad again, because I was like literally bedridden. I couldn't get out of bed for days at end. I have to.
I think stepping back a little bit.
Yeah.
So from an investigation standpoint, so first of all, in terms of things that are objectively obvious that you've got, is you've got spinal stenosis in the cervical spine, which we can address. You've got nerve root compression coming out the sides of the nerve, and arthritis, all of which we can address, and you're on. And so when you're dealing with complex tissue pathology like cervical spinal stenosis, set arthropathy, nerve root encroachment, and prostate cancer. So what I'll do is I'll make some recommendations to Dr. Pereira. I'll give some recommendations for things to pursue.
Other than one emergency room doctor at Royal Jubilee, you're the first person to acknowledge that there's some damage in my back and spine right now. Everybody else, WCB, dismisses it. Everybody does.
That's where the MRI may be very valuable.
Yeah.
In order to see if there is something that can be addressed anatomically. Sometimes some of these conditions require consultation with a surgeon, but they often do say trying a more minimally invasive strategy in advance of doing anything surgically is worthwhile, and that's something we can certainly consider. So I'll make some recommendations. I'll fill out a requisition for the MRI. We'll see what we can coordinate. And I'll give some pharmaceutical recommendations for Dr. Pereira to see if he wants to pursue that. If he's got the bone scan already in process, that's great.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
I think that a couple of things. One of them is there's sometimes there can be psychological effects that can be subconscious as a result of post-traumatic stress disorder, which could also be as a result of the assault, the diagnosis of cancer. Those are things that people sometimes, it can run like a submarine underneath the surface. And not
you're preaching to the choir on that one. Yeah.
So I'll make some recommendations, and the decisions are up to you. But as I say, there are things that we can offer, and but it's things we do in concert with our other colleagues. So It's been a pleasure to talk. I'll send some recommendations to Dr. Pereira, and he'll keep your file open as well.
Okay.
It's been good to talk, sir.
Okay, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. And thank you for the recommendations and acknowledgement of my back pain. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.